I'm just going to pretend I did it on purpose this week. I like that song so much. I was thinking too much about how I was going to cleverly introduce our last stream of the year. And I had landed on, I promise I won't close this stream with see you next year. But obviously that entire spot is blown. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whatever it may be. Welcome to the Brunch Gimmick. Welcome to the final Brunch Gimmick of 2023. It is good to see you. It is good to be here. I know Rip is obviously very excited because For some reason, he's sleeping at my feet, and then as soon as I get started, starts jumping everywhere. But it is good to see you. Thank you for hopping in the comment section. Thank you for tuning in on youtube.com/LoveWrestlingCA. If you're tuning in late, if you're tuning in right now, throw us a like. We're aiming for 12 today because while it's still New Year's, it's New Year's Eve, obviously, but we're still aiming for a like for every one of the 12 days of Christmas. I think that's neat. I think it's kitschy, as the kids are saying. JPJ, Omar, good to see you, friends. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to be chatting all of our favorites, moments, memories, matches, everything in between, and then we're going to tune in to the final scramble match of 2023 in Love Pro Wrestling from LPW 21. But before we get there, Laurence, Blair, thank you for joining me this morning. It is a wonderful, wonderful day to see you. It's always a wonderful day to see you, but lots to talk about. World's End, of course, taking place last night. The world thankfully still here, but leaving us lots to chat about. I know, that was terrible, wasn't it? Lots to chat about, lots of great throughout the year in professional wrestling. But Laurence, I'll ask you first, man.
Yep.
How are you doing? How are you feeling? You know what? Let's Tony Storm this one. What's your New Year's resolution?
I would say to do you want the actual one? Or I was going to do a joke, but no. I'll do the legitimate one.
Do a serious one, and like, how are you, man? It's just good to see you.
Yeah. Like, literally, my New Year's resolution is to, do more stuff with Love Wrestling throughout the year. Do more interviews. Yeah.
Well, I'll see you at WrestleMania. We'll do lots down there.
Yeah.
Blair, how are you?
I'm good.
What's your New Year's resolution?
I just want to keep being able to do more stuff, like I want to be able to, it'd be great to do commentary again this year. Just keep plugging away, hit 200 episodes would be nice because, nothing is certain. So like to be able to do that would be great. And just to keep like enjoying wrestling, I think,
You're in the mid 150s right now, right?
I am.
Good on you. Good on you. That's one a week.
Yeah.
If my math is right, and nothing's changed as far as the weekly calendar structure.
I think it's still 52 weeks a year, but you never know the way things go. So
sorry, I'm sneezy, and of course it's New Year's, so I'm closing out the year with a couple of new zits. My nose is itchy because I'm getting one right here. Anyways, nobody cares about my personal life. If you're tuned in, like I said, throw us a like. Raymond for 12 today. But if you're tuned in, head over to X or Twitter or whatever we're calling it now. Throw us a retweet. Let people know you're here. Let's get a lot of people tuning in for the final stream of the year because, like I said, there's lots of great stuff to start talking about. I don't know. The year kicked off with Shinsuke Nakamura wrestling the Great Muta, and it only got weirder from there. CM Punk is back in WWE. Blair, let's just maybe ask for your overall feelings on the year in wrestling to kick her off here, because there's a lot of ways it could be described. Train wreck in a lot of ways. Excellent.
I've enjoyed things, but it's been a strange year when it comes to wrestling because, I never would have imagined WWE to continue being as hot as they are, and I'd never imagined AEW to fall as much as they have. And I say fall, not like the world is falling, but it did drop down.
Is that a World's End joke, Bobby?
Wimitani, Bobby, Wimitani. But it's
you
been
stud.
CM Punk returning to two different promotions. Just the nothing almost topping Ospreay and Omega for a match of the year, which happened the first week of 2023. It's been a fun year, but definitely strange. So that's what I'm going with.
Sorry, I'm retweeting you. I don't mean to be.
That's okay.
I don't mean to be ignorant. Ophelia, good to see you as well, too. Yeah, strange is a good way to put it. You summed it up pretty well there with CM Punk making two major returns to two different promotions. Backstage at Impact, you can count it for free. Yeah, for Impact debut. Call that a kick that can down the road. Laurence, same question to you, my brother.
Definitely a strange year, but man, has wrestling never been hotter. Mm-hmm. I was at the house show or live event this week here in Montreal, and to see like
The premium live event that's not a premium live event.
yeah, yeah, but like that place was completely sold out and like packed, and the crowd was hot as hell, and we're seeing this in more and more shows. Like it really is like definitely finishing the year on like a hopeful note, on a massive like, man, this like next year is going to be super fun for pro wrestling. We're heading to like rising tide lifts all ships.
Yeah.
And we were seeing like just a lot of places for people to work. Like we've got TNA, which is like setting a lot of stuff up for this new year with their name change and signing new people.
I was just going to say, advertising their biggest signing ever.
Yeah, and bringing in like Okada and Ospreay, and just having the roster they already have to go against that is just like, man, I'm super excited. Like this past year is like the most I've ever traveled for wrestling too. Like I've gotten to see the most shows I've ever had. Like it was probably the most fun straight up wrestling year I've had as a fan.
Yeah, man. You were sending me photos, and Zach was sending photos of the show there, the non-PLE PLE.
Yeah.
That you guys went to there on the 28th in Laval, and man, it just looks like a blast. Obviously, it's pretty cool. Obviously, seeing Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens wrestle in front of their hometown crowds. I just always love a hometown reunion. Just a blast to see. Check out Zach's recap over there on lovewrestling.ca. Selfishly, and I'll see you guys both in Edmonton. Kicking her off in a couple of months here. Shoot plug for the merchandise. There it is. I think you guys both hit the nail on the head. There are definitely a lot of ways you could describe the year in professional wrestling. Strange is one of them. Hot is one of them. Like boom would be the other one. I think we've really hit another boom period in professional wrestling in a way that, like, to be honest with you, man, I don't think wrestling's been this hot since the Attitude Era. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like there really wasn't, and I still enjoyed it by, everything I've gone back and rewatched since. But like nothing really hit like this in the same way that the entire industry was as healthy as it is. When say Cena was on top, or the first Roman Reigns experiment. So I don't know. I think thriving is the word that I would use. You see it everywhere. Just trickled down, and I've said for years, I don't believe in a trickle down economy, but I certainly believe in like the trickle down benefits of like WWE and AEW doing well, because now you see it, Lawrence, like you said, with Impact, with MLW, with look down to Prestige, or not look down to Prestige. Look at promotions like Prestige or a Defy or a GCW. Yeah. Like the indies are better than ever. So yeah, thriving would probably be the word I would use. But the thriving era doesn't really hit. You know what I mean? Somebody, I think it was Andrew Zarian, I could be wrong, but somebody raised the point of like, what do we call this era? I've been thinking on it ever since, and I don't know yet. Like no one was sitting there in the Bronze Age, and they're like, "Yep, this is a lot of bronze around. You know what we should call this?"
The Bronze.
So I don't know. We'll figure this one out in a couple of years. But just a good question, I thought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
the thriving era doesn't work
because you see it at like the like local indie level too. Like because all it takes is a couple kids to get into watching WWE on TV. They want to go see local wrestling, and then hey, they're going to be going to local shows. Getting more into it by that way and expanding their horizons. So it's great to see right now.
Couldn't agree with you more. If you're in the chat, let us know. Give us one word, or we're going to move on here in a couple of minutes. And if you want to give us some suggestions, because Lawrence, I'll let you get the final word on this one. But throw us some of your thoughts on the match of the year from 2023, because I got to admit, I was half smart. I've got a half jumbled list here together, but most of it is done like by month when I remembered, oh shit, Spencer, you've got a list of your favorite matches of the year. You should update it. So I'm sure there's some missing. There's always going to be some missing, but throw us some of yours if you want. But Lawrence, I'll kickstart with you, or I'll let you get the final word, final thought on sort of the overall of 2023.
Yeah, I guess I could do the match of the year. Like we can start off on that. Like I have like 3 off the top of my head. Like one of them I was there live for was Omega Osprey, like in Toronto at Forbidden Door,
Yeah.
was just like the insane reaction. The crowd was just on it from the start to finish. It was like an amazing match. But like, what is legitimately my like favorite match of the year?
I
And
think
like,
I know this one.
it's Speedball Yoshihiko. Speedball wrestling a sex doll in
Hey.
almost a beat for beat remake
A
of Omega
wrestling
Osprey.
A
Like-
wrestling doll.
It was like I'd say that, or like also.
We don't shame sex work here on Love Wrestling.
Oh no,
She is a
it's quite clear.
wrestling sex doll.
Yeah, I mean, Yoshihiko's proud of both her careers. Of their
There we
careers.
are. Star in both. I believe they call that a triple threat.
But yeah, like a lot of people didn't even get, like some casual wrestling fans who were just like there watching the show did not even understand that it was like an Osprey thing reference. They just enjoyed the match for being a great comedy match, and like having this like really really funny, like legitimately great wrestling match where you like she actually sort of cared for Yoshihiko, which is the magic of that dumb doll.
Hey, that beautiful doll.
But also like one of them that I was also just there for, which was a brilliant match, like comedy match set up, was Orange Cassidy and Psycho Mike from Mystery Wrestling.
Yeah.
If you have a chance, go to Mystery Wrestling, pay for the VOD. That whole show is like perfectly booked, but like that main event, just brilliant. Like if you don't know who Psycho Mike is, check out their matches. Like Psycho Mike, he's so good. He's brilliant. Like has the look of like the perfect like WWE superstar, just like 6 foot something, absolutely jacked, but also just like one of the smartest people in pro wrestling. And like they had just a like really fun match.
Quite unlike a different Psycho in professional
Yeah.
wrestling, one of the smartest men. I have half the brain that you do. Blair,
Yes.
match of the year, matches of the year. I do also, as well, Lauren, sorry to cut you off there after, like, quite literally just asking you the question, Blair, but, like, that Speedball Yoshihiko match, I've got to go back and rewatch. I've always said, and Zach, I should also say, has advocated far longer than me on this point, but, like, you ever want to get a wrestling fan into wrestling, those are the sort of matches you show them first.
Yeah. You don't show them Omega Okada because nobody wants to. A new fan isn't going to sit there for an hour. You have to.
I was just gonna say, we have 60 minutes. I'll be explaining the entire story for the first 40 of them.
You have to garner their attention, so that's a perfect match. But my matches of the year, I mean, Osprey Omega's up there. That was incredible. I really loved Shibata versus Daniel Garcia from Death Before Dishonor.
Good
Earlier
ball.
this year. I love that match. I thought Garcia was great in it. And then I also want to throw out there Konosuke Takeshita versus Michael Oku from PWG's Battle of LA. Speedball had a great showing at Bola, but this match I thought was
He won Bola.
notch. He won.
He had literally the best showing, showing you can have. He showed the best.
But he had a great showing. He won, but that match was my favorite of them. So
Just don't forget who won. Sometimes I realize how close my mic is to my camera, and it's kind of funny. You get a good little view of my eyebrows. That's my New Year's resolution: is take better care of my eyebrows. They're a little bushy.
mine are
All right, a couple of them. I'm just gonna pick a few here off of my little list I got going on. MJF versus Bryan Danielson. That was this year.
Yeah.
Their Iron Man match this year, and I would have no issue saying it was like, if not the greatest Iron Man match ever, like in the conversation and a real high contender on that. And that's said as a Bret Hart fan. I really loved Charlotte and Rhea Ripley at the Royal Rumble. I thought those two kicked the hell out of each other. Maybe admittedly it's recency bias for me because I rewatched Mania again a couple of weeks ago. which also ties into Drew versus Sheamus versus Gunther. I loved that match. I arguably loved that match more than Sheamus and Gunther at Clash at the Castle last year. I guess it would have been just an ass kicking contest. The Bloodline Civil War, which I had to say because what a great name. The Usos versus Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa was just an absolute blast, and still one of like. For all the critiques he gets for like the fact he only wrestled 6 matches this year, Roman Reigns has continued to like every match he had genuinely shock me with a result in some way, other than the SummerSlam match. I didn't really enjoy that one, but like Roman Reigns taking a pin was huge, and then Hangman Page versus Swerve was it was neat. You guys, honorable mention just for like emotion. Maybe not my favorite matches themselves, but like Sammy and Roman Reigns at Elimination Chamber, unbelievable, and the Usos versus Sammy and Kevin. I really love the match. I don't know if I'd put it on the same level as some of those other ones I love, but like just emotion wise, like tear worthy shit. Yeah, I loved it. Loved them both.
Yeah, I think like straight up my like moment of the year was Sammy the night before at SmackDown. Like when he came out to his old theme song. Yeah. Just that pop. Like me, you, and Zach were all there. And like
you had much better seats than Zach and I did.
But the like pure emotion out of that crowd and like that belief, like that was I just rewatched it the other day.
Yeah.
Like the full 9 minutes of it, of like the 7 minutes of like uninterrupted like ovation and cheering.
Yeah.
For that man, as I'm sure like the producers were going nuts in the back because he would not talk, and just cut the perfect like maybe 2-3 line promo.
Yeah. With a line in French. Joel Pearl pointed it out to us too after the show. He said you could literally see one of the producers telling him to like get going with the promo.
Yeah.
Just for context, Zach and I bought our tickets like as we. Is it still? It's the Bell Center.
Mm-hmm.
La Bell Center. I don't know.
Centre Bell.
I'm not French.
Centre Bell is the French.
If you think that was bad, you should hear me genuinely trying to speak French.
Oh, I'm terrible.
But the Bell Center, Zach and I bought our tickets like walking up to it.
Yeah.
So we ended up sitting in like the top row, like the quite literal top row of the Bell Center. You could touch like the posters of Maurice Richard and that sort of stuff around it. But it was unbelievable. One of the coolest moments of the year, I've got it on my list here too, Lawrence, is like the moment you sort of recognize, because like the old, what would you call it? Like his heel theme, I guess.
Yeah.
It had to start and then it cut out. The moment that you, Zach and I, and sort of the crowd as well, recognized that, like, no, it's worlds apart. Like, you almost hear that little secondary pop again too in the video you're talking about.
Loudest "Let's Go" you'll ever hear.
Yep. Oh yeah. Another one for me. If we're gonna move on there, unless anybody else has any matches they want to talk about. No, we're good. Cool. Another one for me. Arguably, and it's insane to say that there is a rival for that entrance. Bad Bunny at Puerto Rico. That entire pay-per-view was a blast. Yeah. I am so excited that they're doing more international pay-per-views again next year. Germany's going to rule. Australia's going to rule here in a couple of months. But Bad Bunny's entrance, like over and above everything. I guess with the exception, Zelina Vega had a very different kind of cool moment. That was fantastic as well. But when you're talking about just like a cool, for me, moment of the year, Bad Bunny, his entrance coming out was unbelievable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'll throw one out there, and it's a little bit different, but the match was fun. And there's reasons why, I didn't pick the match because it was a good match, but didn't really stand out. But when Eddie Kingston finally became ROH World Champion, I thought that moment was just like, that's the kind of moment you get teary-eyed watching. So just finally being able to accomplish that goal. So I wanted to throw that one out there.
Couldn't agree with you more, man. Eddie Kingston just rules. Like even last night too, not in any sort of bad way, but when Eddie Kingston started winning and you could start to tell that like the story was Eddie's on the comeback trail, like personally, I had sort of figured that he was going to end up winning the Continental Classic. I think in the nicest of ways, like the gold side was a little bit more unpredictable. I enjoyed it a little bit more with how they got to that triple threat and how Moxley ended up in the final there. But like even last night, you know, sort of going in half expecting that Eddie was going to win it, it was still so wonderful to see him pick up that, what would you call it, like the Triple Crown win, I guess. Continental Classic win. There we go.
Yep.
Eddie Kingston in, like, a lot like we're talking about Sami Zayn. Like, I mean this as the highest compliment. Like, they make you believe that wrestling is real in a way that not a lot of people can do.
Like,
I'd put those two really in like almost a class of their own as far as that goes, really.
Probably like two of the best people to just organically connect with a crowd, just for like who they are. Like, people, like, those are people you know in the street, and you just like gutturally want to cheer for them. Like, it comes from like deep inside. You want them to win, like like if you want a family member to win. Like they are that dude. And like seeing Eddie last night winning it, and like also just like at the end hugging it out with Mox after all that, like just two best friends who just beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah,
like it was a very good match, and like so well earned, that he deserved that moment of like having all three titles over his head and having like a new title just for him. Is great.
How's your mimosa?
Delicious,
man.
Just
I'm so
crushing
jealous.
Yeah.
No, I'm
this
jealous.
bottle's already empty.
Like, so that's the size I've got. So like I was telling you guys before the stream, but for the fans in attendance, number one, throw us a like. We're still aiming for our goal of hitting 12. Oh, hey, Pluggo. Good to see you, friend. More like stud wrestling. Thank you. Appreciate you. Good to see you, friend. Thank you for hopping in. Throw us a like. You know all the plugs that I'm going to throw your way. You are Pluggo. Yeah, I couldn't have put it any better than you just did, Lawrence. Like, there really aren't many people. And there are a lot of people who can connect with an audience. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But, like, again, I don't mean this as any sort of shot, but, like, Cody Rhodes has been very, and I don't use this word again as in a negative way, but like the way he's sort of been built, he's talented enough for this that he's gotten over with it. But like it's been very calculated, right? Like you can tell that WWE wants him to be the guy, rightfully so. Cody Rhodes rules. Even Sammy though, like just the way that he connects with an audience and the way he did ever since, again, one of my moments of the year that kickstarted a couple of my other moments of the year was him turning at the Royal Rumble. Because for me, that entirely changed. Like, personally, the Royal Rumble this year wasn't my favorite pay-per-view, wasn't my favorite Rumble by a long stretch. But, man, like that moment where Sammy hit Roman with the chair was just unbelievable. Changed my entire opinion of the Rumble. And it just, he, again, connects in a different way. He has leveled up this year. Jey Uso's leveled up this year. Everybody associated with Roman has leveled up this year. Stop me if I'm telling you anything you've heard before. Lawrence, putting you on the spot. Blair gave his. I gave one of mine to you for another moment of the year. I've still got a couple that I can rip through here, and I'm sure a couple more will come up as we go through this. If you're in the chat, throw a couple of your moments of the year in here as well, too. Please, excuse my manners. Please throw a couple of your moments of the year in here.
One of them you already mentioned, but like still like hits right into my soul was seeing Sammy and Kevin win at the main event of Night 1 WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Like them like finishing like that story with the Usos and just putting on a hell of a match with the two of them, like a great tag match. Which like you didn't, like, for a while we don't see that much anymore of like truly great tag match. Like with Triple H we're seeing more of, thankfully.
Yeah. Well,
like
the first tag match to ever main event WrestleMania.
Yeah. And like deservedly so. Like those are four of the best performers. Like the Usos are probably one of the best tag teams ever. And Sammy and Kevin are like two of the best wrestlers who like know each other like the back of each other's hand. And they put on a great match, told an amazing story, and just like for me, like this has just been a like great year from like for people who don't understand, like for years being like a French Canadian wrestling fan, like growing up, like the age I grew up, we mostly had to cheer from people for Toronto as like Canadians. But, like, we finally have like three of easily the best professional wrestlers in the world, and Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and Speedball Mike Bailey are all killing it. And like, this is like, I just like literally I posted like, this is the first time I get to regularly see a pro wrestler cut a promo entirely in French,
which is very cool.
Yeah, like dressing down as a poet. Like, I don't see that. Like, I didn't see that before. Like, all we had was like La Resistance for a while.
Well, and Team de Tabernac.
Yeah, that's the Tabernac team. Yeah, but like they're in the independent level, and they still like they're a team that should be 100% signed.
Hey, Sammy snuck a Tabernac onto TV this year.
Oh, filled me with such pride, like such joy and pride. Which honestly, if you just straight up translate in English, is not a curse word. It's like French Canadian curse words, or for people who don't know, are just items in a church. Tabernac is tabernacle. Calice is chalice, where they keep the hostie or the host. Like, all three of them are just like the French Canadian settlers, just like decided to choose curse words by like walking around a church, and like they're versatile as hell because they also mean fuck.
I was gonna say, but it's funnier that way.
Yeah, it's funnier.
That's
why I love using them.
Blair, put your thinking cap on, because after I give mine here, I'm going to admittedly go and top my coffee up. I went with the 2-coffee system, but I was up early today because stay tuned to IWTV. We're going to have LPW 18 up there in the next day or two. I'm an editing machine over the last couple of days. If I didn't have a job that I loved so much, I would have so much time on my hands and things would be edited so much quicker. That's on me. It's kind of appropriate because I thought the Devil reveal was really, really cool last night. But one of the moments of the year for me, take her back to like the start of the year, was when Adam Cole initially returned. It was very, very cool. Obviously, Tony Schiavone in the middle of the ring. Schiavone, why did I pronounce it so weird? But Tony Schiavone in the middle of the ring. There were no rumors that Cole was coming back that night, at least none that I had seen. And it was very, very cool just to be like, Tony Schiavone is going to be doing an in-ring interview. Adam Cole's music hits. And he cut that real passionate promo. Now, again, I love Adam Cole as a heel. I'm real excited to see where this Devil storyline goes now. I don't necessarily think it being a predictable reveal is a bad thing. I think it was really cool. But the start of the year when he came back after everything he had gone through in 2022, it was just really, really cool for me to see that return. And obviously, the wrestling storylines are why a lot of people love wrestling. But personally, and again, I think we can tie it back to Sammy or Eddie or Cody or any of those sorts of guys. But like, a lot of wrestling fans connect with the wrestlers behind the personas. And just again, knowing what Adam Cole had gone through all of 2022 was really, really cool for me. And I know wrestling fans as a whole to see him return, especially in just such a cool, like, not understated way, but there was no, Adam Cole speaks and this by no means is a criticism of like the news sheets or anything like that. But like, again, there was no rumors he was coming back that I had seen, anything like that. So it was really just a neat moment for me.
Yeah, I want to add one thing to the whole Devil reveal, just because I think
the Devil,
there was so much speculation of who could it be, and like who all the minions were going to be, and all of this. And then
I still think it's CM Punk. I've got $1,000 on it. It's a master plan. Just wait. Just you wait.
Do you know how disappointed I was when it wasn't Mercedes Moné taking off the mask and it being her? Like, but like you had to have it so it's relevant to the storyline. So like, Adam Cole is a perfect foil for that, and you could see like there's been people have tweeted out like, all the pieces were there and laid out the entire storyline. And then like, even for the masked guys, like, having the Kingdom, there's the history with Adam Cole. So it's a perfect, like, to have him in. Like, if you throw like, say, a Jungle Boy in there, then you're having to put like 4 people who's he going to be associated with to be his people, so this, to me, it makes sense. But to throw out another moment, I wanted to say just the All In show. I think that when they first announced Wembley Stadium, I'm thinking like they're going to top out at 40,000 people, and to me that's going to be a success. and they
Oh,
just
yeah.
absolutely crushed that. And then with
If
the
they had done
matches,
40 or 50, I think everybody would still be talking about it being a wild
Yeah.
success.
Yeah.
This whole debate about it was 71,000 versus 80,000 and the you know what I have never given a fuck about in my entire life? A turnstile count.
Yeah.
Not one time. And that stands. That stands today. Oh my god. Sorry to interrupt, but like my goodness.
it's
No,
true.
guys, that was the turnstile number. Like, get real.
Mhm.
71,000 tickets is your low end of things.
Like,
Well,
just-
it's not the highest attended wrestling show of all time. Okay,
yeah, great. Was it a good show?
it's just one.
Yeah,
It's just
okay.
one of them.
Yeah, it's up there, but it's not the best.
My
Okay.
goodness. This fandom we work in. I love wrestling. I love the fans in it, but sometimes we are a very silly species with the minutia we care about.
hmm No, I love that show. I thought they did some incredible pay-per-views this year, All In being one of them, Forbidden Door 2 another, and then it just seemed like it was a constant for them, always being able to put on these great pay-per-views. So whether it was ROH, AEW, it always seemed to deliver. Last night excluded, but whatever.
Whether or not they started or ended with a fight on camera, they always put on a hell of a show.
Hell yeah.
CM Punk, and none of this is meant as an insult. It's just meant to break down the timeline. That man got in a fist fight after a show, had an entire show created for him, was on that show for a grand total of a hot minute, and then he got in another fist fight before, arguably, the biggest show in wrestling history, and then had another all-time great return in the same year. That is... Whether or not you love it or whether or not you hate it, that is certainly a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I personally, I don't think you should fight your coworkers, but I love CM Punk in wrestling, so I ain't going to complain. Another one for me and Lawrence, I'll break her down to you. We're getting close here to having to get our match started. The scrambles are a little bit longer, so we'll get going here. Actually, I'll go for two more because the first one's just a fun little tee-hee. The NWA and Father James Mitchell doing cocaine on a pay-per-view. That was a moment of the year. I'm not necessarily saying it was a great moment, but it was certainly a moment that existed. Check out the NWA on the CW app.
Yeah.
The other one that I wanted to shout out, and again, just as dumb as this sounds, it's shooting fish in a barrel as far as moments of the year go. The Rock returned, and it is always going to be cool, no matter. It's going to sound very silly, but like for years, all I've thought is, The Rock ain't coming back. The Rock ain't coming back. Almost to the point where like you're like, ugh, the Rock rumors again. You know what I mean? Soon as his music hits, I'm a 12-year-old. You know, like I lost it. It was very, very cool to see The Rock return. Again, you sort of heard, and nothing confirmed by any means, but like everybody sort of like threw out there, well, SmackDown's in Denver tonight, and there's The Rock on the show, but nobody really expected it, and it was real cool to see The Rock return.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, call a spade. That rules.
Oh, yeah, it's great. It's great for wrestling. I mean, just to get the casual fan back into it, like, oh yeah, The Rock, I loved him growing up. You know, it's one of those things. I think it's a good time. So why not? It's The Rock.
One of my brothers is very much like not a lapsed wrestling fan, but like he doesn't watch anymore or anything like that. It's just sort of it's an if it's on program. You know what I mean? That's the sort of stuff that like, holy cow, The Rock returned. You sort of start to get your texts from your like out of the loop friends in the nicest of ways. I loved it.
It's weird to think of returns or like debuts, and the fact that Sabu showed up in AEW, and it's like trying to like piece that together. It's just like, why? But like, whatever. Let's just go with it. Wasn't the worst thing that happened, but it's Sabu. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That did happen. Rip, what are you doing? Chewing my pictures, you asshole? No. Stop. Got a bunch of pictures I've got to hang because I'm trying to be productive as we lead into the new year. I'm starting to build good habits. I'm not going to hang photos if you chew all the frames. Lawrence, I'll let you close it out here as I pull the match up.
Yeah.
Sorry to throw all the closing it out here on you.
No. One of them is another one that I was there live for this year, and that was Bryan Danielson coming out to Final Countdown. Like the second those like first notes of the song like hit, the crowd just exploded. Like everyone knew it was like the perfect. It was like legitimately the perfect time for Tony Storm. God damn it, Tony Khan.
It's always a perfect time for Tony
Storm. Who, by the way, also I'm gonna add a moment of the year. Her at that press conference last night, just
calling out
like,
Wendy Richter.
Wendy Richter. Oh, like she is so fucking brilliant. Like this character has shown like you know how good she was in the ring before.
She's got money written all over her.
Yeah, but like just improving with the reporters and Tony Khan and like that shit. Like she makes it look easy. That's how good she is. But it's so hard to do that and to stay in character and to be like legitimately like hilarious throughout. And you're answering and still giving like good answers to reporters' questions. Like great laugh. But yeah, Bryan Danielson at like that whole match was a lot of fun. Like it was all granted like went on a little late, but like hearing him come out to Final Countdown was the perfect time for them to spend just an inhuman amount of money on that song. Like more money than everyone make it like in it like 5-10 years. They paid on one
throw
song.
it out there. If Tony Khan is willing to throw 6 figures, because 6 figures was reported.
Yeah.
If he's willing to throw 6 figures out there for the Final Countdown, objectively awesome. He should be able to find an amount of money that works for Wendy Richter to come and wrestle a 5-minute match.
Mm-hmm.
He should be able to find some amount of money for old Wendy to strap up the boots one more time, hop back in that ring, and God willing, put on a 5-minute match with Tony Storm.
Yeah. Tony will fuck her up.
I don't know what that amount is. I would have to assume it's over $100,000. But if you're willing to spend 6 figures on one cool moment, 2, he's done it twice now.
Yeah, he's done it twice.
Yeah.
If you're willing to spend $200,000, Rue, okay, I'm gonna figure this out. What are you chewing, your shirt?
I'm just. Wendy Richter was one of the first women wrestlers that I ever knew of. So I mean, to hear that, like I popped at that.
Yeah, like I love the reaction in the press room of everyone like immediately popping for the Wendy Richter reference. Like,
how can you not?
Yeah, it was so well played by her. I'm like, I knew she wasn't gonna say Mercedes Monet. I knew there was gonna be a joke there, but like it was perfect. Like
I personally have been clamoring for a Wendy Richter Tony Storm match for years. That's just me.
Yeah.
Speaking of matches, let's watch. Oh, that was nicely done on my part of things.
Hey, I've got that same Love Wrestling shirt.
I'm starting to realize blue's my color. Maybe a lighter blue. Who was our referee? Oh, Stuart Garvey. Not the 2023 referee of the year. No, I love you, Garvey. Congratulations to the Feds. No, we're not going to do a recount. You know why? Because it's all an online voting system that hands me the numbers.
It's rigged. It's rigged. No. Storm the Capitol. We're storming.
We've got
it's almost days. January 6th. We're going to Spencer's house.
We've got 6 days to make a plan. I have to fast forward this one because music, you see. Tony Baroni rules, though. I'm happy I got to that point. Perzep also rules. Where's the match get to? There we go. There's Jack Pride. What with copyrights and that sort of thing, I've learned my lesson. Right, Lawrence?
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to think I've learned my lesson at this point. The LPW Wrestling Scramble Championship. Just a cool looking title, number one. For number 2, the first ever Scramble Championship in Western Canadian wrestling history. Jack Pride, the first, the only title holder to this point. This one was a blast, too. I always love when you get a mix of, like, we've always had good wrestlers, but, like, a mix of different wrestlers. Like, Baroni hadn't been out here since I think it was March. No, it would have been February. Obviously, Rich here every month. Tara Zepp debuting for us. And then Evan Rivers, I think, would have been right around the same time. Would have been February or March. And not through any lack of wanting them here. Just, like, for all the right reasons, booked and busy. Good problems to have. So,
just the different styles too. Like you're getting just a wide variety in this match, and that's one of the things I love about scramble matches, especially with this. Just getting different kinds of wrestlers in there.
Yeah. Tara Zepp was really cool to have out for the first time. Obviously, like, I love watching all of these folks wrestle in just the most blunt of ways. I wouldn't book anybody I didn't enjoy watching wrestle myself, but like, it's very, very cool to get to see the debuts personally, because most of the time I've never gotten to see them wrestle live before. Like, rare exceptions to that, but like Tara Zepp, watched online a lot, really enjoyed her, but never had the chance to watch her wrestle live because unfortunately I don't get out to Vancouver all that often. Right? So, just cool. Love the opportunities that, well, frankly, getting to book people gives me sometimes. Get to bring all your favorites in.
Tara's booked for JCW today too.
Yes, that she is.
Yeah, so that's good.
It's very cool to see her getting out, and not over about the last year. I know she has more consistently, but it's cool to see her out there for some of the other promotions. Like that moment with Mick Foley a couple of weeks ago was one of the coolest things to get to see. And great person. Like, you only get to learn so much getting to pick people up from the airport and getting to know them over one night of a show night. But just a good human being.
Yeah.
And can say that for pretty well everybody that's come through our locker room. Also, Evan Rivers, I say this in the most complimentary of ways, psycho. Like, not just this, but like, yeah, just, there you go. But like, some of the stuff that he does, when I say it, it's the same way I talk about like with Mars or MRB or Pride, like, some of the stuff they do, like, I don't wrestle for the reason that I couldn't do the easiest stuff. And some of the stuff they do, I would never do on my worst of days.
Yesterday, Pluggo and I were talking about it on For Exposure because, I mean, Travis and Judicrous have had a great year south of the border. And I think
Judicrous?
Travis and Judicrous. Yes, Judicrous.
You just...
Travis and Judicrous have had a great year south of the border. And I think 2024, you're going to see Evan Rivers get even more of a shot down there, and he's really going to break through. So just see Sovereign completely take over.
Oh yeah, like you said, they have been already. It's the same way, to be honest. I've talked, and I actually probably said nearly the same statement I'm about to say last year verbatim. But like, if you thought 2023 was good, just wait until you see what 2024 is for Canadian wrestling. Like, you've seen, and I know we can all speak for firsthand experience in a lot of different ways. Like, not only are people getting out to different promotions, starting to get a bit of a reputation in the States, you mentioned Sovereign there. When you look at people like a Sebastian Wolf, when you look at Matthews getting the ability to go back down to the States again too. Speedball, I know it's been a little bit longer on that end of things, but like, Speedball's the wrestler of the year after about a year and a half of being able to go back down to the US, right? But you start to see all of the promotions in Canada grow, Ourselves, obviously, I can selfishly say, but like, you look at what WrestleCore and Boom are doing, you look over to Ontario, and like, Destiny's starting to do some really, really great things. Courage Pro's starting to do some really, really great things on top of your staples like a Smash, a C4, Crossbody out there, like Greektown. It's wild.
Yeah,
absolutely wild. And that's only mentioning a couple of provinces, right? Like, ow, no, you don't jump like that, jerk.
Rip's just jacked up for the rise of independent wrestling.
He is. He's hyped. He also needs to go on a WALK after this. Much like last week, I was, and I brought up earlier that you'll be able to catch LPW 18 on IWTV soon. Admittedly, the extra 20 minutes I spent on that was the expense of, is everything okay at the Pacheco household?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, good. If we see you jump out randomly, we'll understand.
Everything's okay.
Good. Good.
Whew.
I was worried. I thought you were talking about the match for a second.
Yeah,
I saw the
no, I
worry
heard-
on your face.
I heard the sound of like something.
I thought it was somebody taking like a weird bump, and I'm like, don't worry, don't worry, Blair. They're okay. I wouldn't be posting this match if somebody got severely injured.
No, everything's okay here, thankfully.
Good. Glad to hear. But yeah, the IWTV edits were at the expense of Rip's WALK. So I'm going to take him for a good little walk because every year, and not that it's the only time I do it every year, but I've made a nice little tradition of I'll always go and try and find like a quiet, like a smaller little bar. Ideally something with very few people in it and with a jukebox. And just like go and set some goals for the year. So that's my plan. That's my plan for today. But I need to take him for a jaunt, if you will. See, I've got to try and find different words for a stroll, so that he doesn't start to freak out.
Lawrence, are you going to that show tonight?
Yeah, I'm going to the IWS New Year's party / no ring match.
That'll be good.
Hey, send my best to everybody.
Yeah, I think we also got
Andrew.
Yeah. And Katrina Creed is main eventing. It's Matthew St. Jacques. It's going to be a crazy match.
Nice.
Very cool.
Also worth learning from the house show. Like, it was a little bit of a spoiler that Kevin Owens is going to be there because his family rolls deep every time. Like both like the Steen and his sister-in-law, his family, the Lemaire's, just like 10 of them at once, all nice, like all decked out in KO merch. Like I know
you probably wouldn't see like a lack of KO merch at any show in the Quebec area,
but like
anywhere in Eastern Canada, really.
But like when they're getting like escorted to the front row, and it's like 10 of them in a row. But like, shout out to the homie Jan. She's like Kevin Owens' sister-in-law. Yeah, a friend of mine.
Yeah, that looked like a blast. I'm really excited. Yeah. I've got plans to head out to the January 5th show there in Vancouver.
Nice.
But admittedly, with going to WrestleMania this year, I've sort of had to revise some pulling of favors, I guess is the best way to put it. Because obviously I have to take care of Rep. And we're heading to Boston basically like the week after WrestleMania because my mom's running the Boston Marathon. So I'm 50-50 on being able to make that one now, just because like if I ask a friend to watch him in January, that pretty well eliminates them from watching him in April. And I need April. I just really want January. I want every wrestling show. That's the long and short of it. Big ol' lefts. Big ol' lefts. Big ol' crossbody. Evan Rivers is fantastic. Like you were saying earlier there, Blair, it's very, very cool to see him starting to branch out. Well, not even starting. Like, it's been months. Yeah. But getting down to some other promotions there in the States.
Yeah, I think 2024 will be a huge year for Evan. So I'm excited to see that. Like, it's great.
Jesus, Rich.
Yeah.
Oh. It's great seeing so many of these wrestlers, like, and just how much they've grown in the past year, and just how they continue to like reach and like strive and like just to they set these goals and they're just knocking them out of the park. You know, working for these different promotions, traveling. Like, I love seeing all of this.
Yep. It's why I'm so confident. Again, like last year was fantastic. 2023 was a really, really great year for, again, love pro, but Canadian wrestling as a whole. I think 2024 is just going to blow that out of the water. Really, really is. Like as of today, we are 3 weeks away from the Oil Rumble. Our next show is at Rogers Place in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. That's a very, very cool way to kick off a year. Right? So. Rough. Maybe if I speak to my dog in his language. It hasn't helped. Now, I will put Evan Rivers, because there are a few people I'd put in this argument, but I will put Evan Rivers in contention for the nicest moonsault on the Independents. I will 100%.
The distance he gets on some of them too is ridiculous.
That was one of the biggest reasons. Like, I liked that angle, but I was almost just going to leave it there when I was editing on that hard cam angle, because like his feet nearly touched the turnbuckles there. Big Bad Boris rules. I mean, come on now. Big old TKO. To Evan Rivers from the Crimson Lion. Rivers wisely rolling out of the ring. I'm seeing my neighbors out my window for the first time.
Do you have any big plans for the evening, Spencer?
No, to be honest with you. Proverbially, I'll be in like bed by 10. Yeah. I usually like staying up for the countdown and all that sort of stuff, but like I will probably be in bed and like attempting to go to sleep at like 12:02. You know? I do like just this is gonna sound like such a douchey way to put it. I like the idea of the New Year's countdown, and then every year it's like, well, it's just 12 o'clock. I go to bed. I don't have any plans, anything like that. I don't anticipate getting any late texts or change ups or anything like that. So I'll probably last year, I crap you not, I watched Forrest Gump, because if you started at a certain time, it's like if you started at 11:03, 50, whatever those stupid memes going around. But I rang in the new year with Lieutenant Dan last year.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, that was nice.
Lieutenant Dan.
Yeah, I like Forrest Gump. It's up there as far as movies go.
Great soundtrack too.
Oh, hell of a soundtrack.
Great soundtrack.
Great record. And there's the 3. I'm just going to remove that. There we go. Look at that. Jack Pride wins. I just figured we can close that out so that we don't have anything to talk over anymore.
Yeah.
What about you, Blair? Doing anything for New Year's tonight?
No, I will probably be asleep by 10 o'clock.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That makes El Doso.
Yeah.
Lawrence, you're popping bottles?
Yep. And I'll be downtown for the IWS show, then probably in bed by like 1 a.m.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. So you will be hitting the hay at roughly the exact same time, just different time zones.
Yes. On all fairness, I'm usually in bed by like 8 and asleep by like latest 9.
Fair enough. Fair enough. You went to bed early yesterday to plan for tonight?
Yeah.
That's adorable.
That's
adorable. You took a little nap?
Get a good snooze?
I think I'm going to take a little nap right after this.
Get some Z's?
You have your little sleeping cap on with a little candle.
The little honk shoes.
This is oddly accurate to my evening routine. I don't know how you guys both know this about me.
Get a little candle. Get a little coriander. Get a little coriander in your nightcap. Get a little coriander in your nightcap, Lawrence. Oh, true.
Yes.
And a little armrest.
I do, and with my bowl of porridge every night.
Oh, man. Friends, thank you for tuning in. Guys, it is always great to share the stream with you, but it is especially nice to get to close the year out with you. Lawrence, you've launched a new show here on Love Wrestling as of recently. Speedball, Mike Bailey, and Veda Scott have joined you on the Cheap Pop Show. So if people want to pay attention to recent episodes, if people want to tune into upcoming episodes, where can they do so? Where can they pay attention to you on the socials? As I pick an Eilish from my, Eilish.
At KartsTheNDG.
I hate you. I was thinking the same thing.
Sorry, Lawrence.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Lawrence. I was like, what is that? Is that Cockney? It's a Billy. Yeah. I got a Billy. I hate you, Blair. I love you. I'm sorry, Lawrence.
You can follow me at KartsTheNDG on Instagram and Twitter and Threads, and at Cheap Pop on Instagram and Twitter, where I'll be announcing a new guest soon. Hopefully, we're going to be real recording this week, hopefully. And I think at the IWS show, I'm going to be shooting some stuff for shorts.
Nice.
For Instagram shorts. I've got an idea for that.
Hell yeah.
I like shorts. Yeah. They're comfy and easy to wear.
Yeah. Goodbye, Spencer. I'll see you next year. I need a full year break.
Cartier Wrestling. I've been fired. Yeah. Welcome to Cartier Wrestling.
Yeah.
Blair, where can the people find you for future editions of the Grainmaker Wrestling Podcast?
Well, up on all podcast streaming platforms. Search Grainmaker Wrestling Podcast on any social media. I've got an account up there, so definitely check that out. And make sure you check out Love Wrestling every Saturday for Exposure, where me and my good friend Plug go take a look at the world of independent wrestling, because we have a lot of fun doing it, and it's a great time. So check it out.
Friends, I would recommend both of the podcasts. I would recommend all of the content we've got going on here at Love Wrestling. So give us a follow wherever podcasts or played video is viewed, or awesome content is created by awesome people at Love Wrestling CA. Make sure you pick up your tickets for our upcoming events here in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Our next upcoming event, to phrase that, Englishly, is on Sunday, January 21st at 4 p.m. as part of the Edmonton Oil Kings afternoon game against the Saskatoon Blades. Love Pro Wrestling presents the Oil Rumble. Tickets can be purchased at Ticketmaster. Just Google it. Head to the Ticketmaster page of the Edmonton Oil Kings. You'll be able to find that one there. As mentioned, January 21st at 4 p.m. Then join us on Thursday and Friday back at the Rec Room South Edmonton Common as we do LPW times CWS number 10. This will be the first ever defense of the Championship of Salvation. The next night, we've got LPW 22. I don't know about you, but it's going to be a great night. Billy Starks, to not confuse two names. Billy Starks, unfortunately, unable to be there due to contractual obligations. However, Vert Vixen making her Love Pro Wrestling debut, taking on the intangible Zoe Sager. We've got Von Vertigo challenging either Michael Richard Blaze or Michael Allen Richard Clark for the Love Pro Wrestling Grand Championship, and a lot more to come. Head to our Tixer page for that, tixr.com/Love Wrestling. And if you want to catch up on the latest events from Love Wrestling, stay here on YouTube for individual matches, or head to IWTV, independentwrestling.tv on your browser. Subscribe not just for all of your latest Love Pro Wrestling, but the widest library of independent wrestling on the planet. Wow, I nailed all of those, other than the Billy Starks, Vert Vixen little slip up, but can't all be perfect, and I certainly can't be perfect. Thank you guys for tuning in here to the Brunch Gimmick, the final Brunch Gimmick of 2023. We'll see you next year. See, I told you I wouldn't end the stream with that. I decided to continue. I got my joke in, and I was true to my word. For Lawrence, for Blair, and for me, Spencer Love, thank you not just for tuning in today, but for supporting Love Wrestling through 2023. I know I'm speaking for all of us in saying that we wouldn't be able to do this without you, but we wouldn't want to do this without you. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for helping to build a great community here, whether it's Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, Winnipeg, whether it's Montreal, Quebec, Massachusetts, Indiana, Australia, or anywhere in between that any of our creators are from. We appreciate the ever-loving hell out of you. Make sure you have a lot of fun tonight. Make sure you wang chung tonight. Most importantly, make sure you get home safe wherever you may be. But for everyone here at Love Wrestling, we'll see you in the new year. Thanks for tuning in. Lots of love to you. And we'll see you on the next one.